Hello and thanks for joining me on another episode of Frogs Hollow TV. My name's Toby Cooper and on tonight's show, brought to you by On the Brink Motorsport, we'll delve into the recent Darrens Day Out at Sea Lake, the Gascoyne Dash in WA and of course the Northern Territory Titles Memorial Round 1 in Alice Springs. Before we look ahead to an array of upcoming events including this weekend's Kempsey 300. Before kicking off tonight's show, I'd like to say a massive thank you to our gold partners, Cougar Racing, Trueline Earthmoving, and of course Westlime for all their support along with all our other partners for 2025. So straight into our first event review, which was the Darrens Day Out at Sea Lake, round 2 of the Southern States Off-Road Challenge. And joining me again to debrief the weekend that was, won by Darrell Nisson, is Sea Lake Club President Darren Mott. Motty, how are you, mate?
All right, mate. How are you going, Todd?
Good.
Glad to be here.
How was the weekend? What were the conditions like? Pretty hot and dusty, I presume?
Saturday was real hot and dusty. Sunday was a little bit cooler, but no, it was still dusty. Dust was pretty bad in a couple of spots. But anyway, we got through the weekend and we had about 50 starters overall. We had a few drop out just at the last minute with a few different situations. But anyway, we still had a couple of 3 good heats and really good.
Oh, it's good. And the first heat was won by Pete Stevenson in his little Class 2 over Matty Stampfly and Heath Weed and finished third in his patrol.
Yeah, no, that was a good heat. That was probably the best heat of the weekend, like as far as dust and that was concerned.
Yeah.
Probably Dean Williams was probably flying there at one stage, but he had an unfortunate incident with the hay bale.
Yeah.
But no, the blokes that sort of at the top of that heat, no, it was really good, well ran, and they done a good job.
The second heat of the event, which was Saturday morning, ended up being the eventual victor. Darrell Nisson was too good. He was first outright. Then it was great to see Jay Mitchell have his first run in the Illumi craft. He finished in second, and then one of the locals, Joe Marshall, in third.
Yeah, no, it was really good. No, Darrell Nisson sort of dominated that heat. It was probably the heat that had the most wind and whatever, but no, and Jay Mitchell, I think he just improved the whole heat to come home with the second place, and young Joey Marshall, well, he's always a pretty good goer anyway, so it was a real good heat, that one, so but pretty quick, and I suppose the track hadn't fully cut up then too because it was a middle heat and they probably got the best run. So, but anyway, no, it was all good.
And then Trav Conrad, obviously first of the Class 10s, finishing fourth. And then into your heat as the last one of the weekend, Pete Simpson had a pretty dominant win at the end of the day over Dale Stan, and then yourself, mate, finishing in third. Good run?
Yeah, no, we all had a good run. Pete, unfortunately, Brett Plant was really flying early on, and then he had another unfortunate incident with a hay bale, which put him out, and there was a couple other blokes sort of just dropped out with different issues, but it was probably a dustiest heat, but certainly Pete was a standout there. Pete dominated the heat very well, and with me and Dale bringing up second and third, so, but anyway, good weekend.
Yeah, and you just mentioned Brett Plant. He obviously didn't finish. I saw Glen Pike wasn't on the finish list. Dean McGinley, I think he had an electrical issue. Dave Middlemas, Darren Franklin, as you said, Dean Williams. So there was a few expected to be up the front that didn't quite make it around. The track obviously deteriorated a fair bit over the weekend.
Yeah, sort of a newer section in trees. It was probably the stuff that cut up. The rest of the track was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think even in the last heat with the ultimate class and the Class 4s, it got to a certain point and it really didn't get any rougher through the trees, and that was probably the roughest part through the new tree sections. Dave Middlemas was going pretty well, but he done a front shocker and that. But overall, I think we had a really good, successful weekend.
And how'd it go with I saw a few social media posts. I know the Forceman's very active on Facebook they obviously helped out over the Saturday with recovery and so forth.
Look, a real big thank you to the competitors that helped competitors and their crews that helped out on Saturday to run the vet with recovery and helping around the start finish line and all that. No, it was really good. Officials helping out in timing and all that. No, great response from the competitors to help out on Saturday, and then some still helped out on Sunday. So, no, really good.
Great
really good. Cannot be happier.
Darren Nissen obviously leads the Southern State Off-Road Series now, and Pete Simpson in second, and Pete Stevenson in third. So that's your top three. And the next round's down at Mumbenna, 160 on the 17th of May. I see they're only taking 35 entries for a number of reasons, but I'm sure that'll fill pretty quick, Moddy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how quick that fills. Yeah. The series has certainly brought a bit to the table, and it'll be interesting with only 35 entries to see who gets in. It usually fills very quickly, only within a couple of hours. So if you want to be in, you're going to have to be right on the money to get in. So anyway, that's unfortunately that's what it is. So we just got to go with it.
Sounds good, mate. No worries. Anyway, thanks for joining us again. Congratulations on a well-run event down there, the Sea Lake Off-Road Club, and it looks like everyone had a great weekend.
No, well, thanks for that, Toby. No, everyone did have a great weekend. We haven't had any bad responses. Everybody's been really positive about the way the weekend went and the format.
Yep.
So hopefully, see what happens next year. We'll probably go with a similar format and tweak it a little bit. But other than that, I think everyone's been pretty happy, and the Southern States Series is just getting stronger, I think. So we'll continue on to the next one, and be interesting to see who gets in and who doesn't. And, that's about it, I suppose.
No worries, mate. Enjoy your Easter, and we'll talk soon.
Right, thanks, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Moddy. Always a pleasure to have you on Frogs Hollow TV, and we'll definitely catch up before the next Sea Lake event at Nandaly on the June long weekend. Also, last weekend was the running of the 2025 Coral Coast Helicopters Gascoyne Dash up there in beautiful and picturesque Carnarvon in WA. It was round 2 of the Western Australian Off-Road Race Championship. I was fortunate enough during the week to catch up with the champion, Adam Trewhella, and also get the thoughts of Western Australian correspondent Russ Cullen on the happenings in the West. Enjoy. I'd like to welcome to Frogs Hollow TV for the first time Gas Dash winner, Adam Trewhella. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate.
You had another terrific weekend in the West, dominant victory up there at Carnarvon, and you must be over the moon.
Oh, yeah, mate. It was good to come home with another win up there, and obviously to get a win in general is pretty good, but to finish your race up there is pretty brutal. And as you've probably seen, the attrition was up. To go from start to finish like we did was ideal.
The track definitely looked challenging, to say the least, in patches.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it started off pretty quiet, and the track, had a bit of everything. But after the bikes, they chopped it right up. It became really, really rough, especially in some bits there. It was a bit like sitting on whoops, and real boggy, silty sections as well.
Yeah, that's back-to-back victories now in WA, so you're clear championship leader. It must feel good heading into the midway part of the season. You've done it before, though, but it's your first victory up at Carnarvon, so it must have been a special weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a couple of seconds up there in the past, but never really been able to get the win. So it was good to sort of get the prologue win and take advantage of dust-free run and run away with it, I guess.
I mean, you had a great start to the season. It was an emotional weekend for you and your team. I see your old man's car in the background there, but to win again at Wurundjeri would have been, one of your biggest moments in your career.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, good tribute to the old man, and makes it 3 Wurundjeri wins in a row. So we're quite quick there, and the conditions as well are quite hot. So it's pretty challenging for the cars. They run pretty hot all weekend.
So tell us a bit about your weekend at Carnarvon. You led by around 4 minutes after the first day, and it just seemed like you just cruised to the finish, 2 comfortable laps on Sunday. I know you did say it got very rough there. That last 100 Ks was brutal, but about a 6-minute, 20-second victory. Tell us a bit about your run.
Yeah, I mean, day one for me was probably a bit messy. Like, there was a bit of pressure there. Like, there was quite a few fast cup cars in the field, which I didn't really know what was going on behind me. So I didn't know whether they were going to put the chase on. So I was pushing pretty hard and had a lot of offs, which didn't do the tyres a lot of good. But luckily they all stayed up, and we got to the end and we got to sort of regroup. And going into Sunday, a lot of the big hitters were already out. Nutrition was up. I reckon there was only 15 or 16 cars still running for the last section.
Yeah.
So the plan was just to get out there, keep it on the track, and save the tyres, which it laid off.
And you're obviously teammate and team owner, Mark Kramer. I know you do all the prep on his car. He had another great run. He finished in third. So yeah, just a great weekend for the team.
Yeah, for sure. He's getting a lot more confident now as well when he's able to push the car a lot harder as well. So hopefully we can see him on the podium a lot more often.
Anyone else you'd like to thank from your weekend, mate?
The crew and the sponsors, really. Like I can do it without Marson and ARB and KRT Contracting and Shannon for the engine. So that, and just the crew for the weekend that were away. Really good bunch of people to hang out with. Really good time.
And you've got Ben Cubbon up next. I know you're going, I believe it's going for a three-peat there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always fast there as well. So hopefully we can, like you said, go the three-peat and carry that momentum on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, terrific stuff, mate. You're in red-hot form, and I think that's around, about 6 wins in the last 3 years in WA. So one of the hottest off-roaders, not only in your state, but in Australia. Thanks for everything, mate, you do for the show, and we'll talk soon.
No worries. Thank you.
There we go, Adam Trewhella, the Gas Dash winner for 2025.
Thanks, Toby. And Frogs Hollow TV continues to kick goals. Well done to your good self. Recently, over here in the West, we had the Coral Coast Helicopters Kickstarters Gascoyne Dash, which went really well. We had a nice social occasion on Thursday, a bit of a gathering on the town oval, which was tremendous. A lot of the public came out to view the cars. That was terrific. Nice display there, 100 odd bikes and sort of 30 cars. Friday saw a prologue, an interesting prologue with Adam Trewhella scooping the pool there. Ryan Print closely behind him, which sort of should have set Ryan up for a big weekend, but unfortunately Ryan had a few little issues. The ever-present Adam Trewhella capitalised on his good prologue and ran away with it all weekend. Yeah, it was a great event. It was held on the town common, a different track to where we normally have the Gas Dash. It was held on in sort of a corner of the Gascoyne River and the coast, so it was right on the really quite close to the beach and some of the tidal areas there. The track presented itself with a bit of trepidation to the competitors. I think some of the competitors were a little bit, oh geez, this is a bit vanilla, this track. But I think at the end of it, it was pretty well unanimous. The track was great and the facilities were pretty cool, being able to go back into town each day. And the proposed beach section never happened. We had a bit of a storm surge from the north, which ruined that, but it'd be great to see that in it one year. Anyway, Sunday was terrific racing. Really good to see a bit of a mixture of cars in the field. We had the Pinnars coming in second outright in their Polaris. That was terrific from the local Chris Pinnar and Seb Pinnar. Adam Trewhella, of course, and Kobe Grant just ran away, stole the show again with a great win. And Mark Kramer in third, terrific result for Mark Kramer and Jay Jankowski. In Class 5, of course, the young fellas in the Kings have got the nod there with Lyndon House and Matty Beck on board. The Jones brothers did extremely well in Class 7 in their Prado. Maxie Bradley and Sean Beck in the 8 did very well. It was just a terrific event, and it was good to be back in Carnarvon. The outside of the racing was extremely enjoyable, and I think everyone really had a good time. And yeah, I could safely say the Gascoyne Dash is back on track. And the best thing about what they've done recently is they now have about 4 different formats to run up there. They can run point to point to Gascoyne. They can run the town common. They could probably even do a large loop race on Black Flats if they ever chose to. And there's some scuttlebutt that they could head south, which would be terrific. Personally, I'd like to see them run it on the town common again and incorporate the beach somehow, because I just reckon that would just be a showstopper. Anyway, it was a great event, and look forward to catching you all up over east at some stage. Russ signing off.
Thanks again to Adam and Russ for joining us on the show. It's always great to have you two WA legends on board, and we'll catch up during the season. Additionally, the Alice Springs Off-Road Club hosted their second event of the season last weekend, the Northern Territory Titles Memorial Round 1. Just 10 crews took to the track, and it was Lockie and Paddy Weir in their second race after a 5-year hiatus that dominated proceedings, winning all 3 sections including the prologue where they held off their son Tim by around 6 seconds at Orange Creek Station. They held off trophy truck campaigner David Bird in second and Alice Springs stalwart Brett Taylor, who crossed third outright in his ACECO Pro Light. This weekend was also concluded with a Dash for Cash event, which was a great spectacle for everyone involved, with cars lining up on either side of the 3-kilometre loop and racing each other for 500 big ones, which was won by Shane Greening over event winner Lockie Weir by 7 seconds. The next event for the Alice Springs Off-Road Club is the annual Brekkie Bash, held up there on the 11th of May. I think they're nearly full capacity for that Sunday. It's a great chance for competitors around the Fink Prologue track to get a bit of an advantage heading into the Fink Desert Race and the June long weekend. Now, in our only event preview for this week's episode, it is the 2025 Scott's Hydraulic Services Kempsey 300 Round 1 of the New South Wales Off-Road Championship. And joining me to discuss all things Kempsey is former champion Dave Chandler. Welcome back to Frogs Hollow TV again, Dave Chandler. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, Davey. Thanks for having me back on Frogs Hollow.
No worries. Obviously, 2023 Kempsey 300 champion. Another big weekend for you, your family, and the whole Kempsey Macleay Off-Road Club this weekend. 58 entries at time of speaking. That's arguably probably the best Kempsey 300 field I've seen in its history.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Going to be a massive weekend. I think we'll get to the 60. There's still a few hours left in today before entries cut off, and I've spoken to another competitor who I know is going to be entering tonight once he gets some paperwork sorted. So that's 59. I'm sure we'll hit the 60, which I'm pretty sure is the biggest numbers we've ever had at the Kempsey 300. So going to be a massive event.
100%. What track conditions? You didn't race it last year. It was very, very muddy and extremely wet. We've seen really dusty with Titrans. What's it going to be like next weekend? I know there's a few small chances of a shower over the next sort of 4 or 5 days, but hopefully everything will be okay.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we've had a month or so ago, we're umming if it was going to be on because of the weather we've had. The wet last year was ridiculously wet. I missed out because we didn't have a car ready. But we've had nice, good, constant drizzle rains here and there, so the track should be absolutely awesome. The Kempsey Club have put in a massive effort up there. There's a handful of the club members that get up there, mate, and put in big hours.
Yeah.
I know there's heaps of gravel going in and heaps of work being put up there, and the track's looking amazing from some images I've seen.
So this year you're doing, I think, a Friday night show at the Bolo in Kempsey. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're doing show and shine. They're doing scrutineering at the Kempsey Bolo in Albert Street in Kempsey, if anyone wants to go down and have a look. A bit of paperwork there as well. So it'll be good to put the cars on display, let the spectators have a chat to the drivers and see the vehicles up and close and personal, mate.
Yeah, 100%. It's always great. The format this weekend, obviously prologue and the Dallas Top 10 shootout, and then 6 laps Saturday afternoon, which is always sort of a good standing point to see where they sort of sit overnight. And it's a big, big day Sunday, 12 laps of that. It is very treacherous, that last sort of couple of hours, as you know.
It's a tough track. I think, normally we have less than 50% of the field complete 100%. Every year with Titchern, it's tough. In 2023, when I won it outright, I was lucky because of poor Matt Uxley. He was leading it by a good couple of minutes, but had a mechanical failure, the nature of our sport. I've had it go in my favour and go against me as well, like everyone I think that's raced off-road. But Titchern definitely known for its roughness, especially towards the end of the weekend. It does break up. Starts off like a beautiful, smooth racetrack, and by the end of it, she's definitely hard work for the last 6-lap heat, that's for sure.
Quality of the field is, I mean, you've only got to see the entry list. You've got Ben Scott. These guys not only compete, the defending New South Wales champion, they're also the major sponsors of the event, Scott's Hydraulics.
Yeah, Scott's are a massive supporter of our sport here at a local level, definitely. Sponsor both our local events. Ben and the team with Gordon prepping the car, mate. That car's a bullet now. Ben's definitely got it under control, and he's going to be very strong on the weekend. Like I said, Matty Huxley, mate, knows that track and definitely probably the quickest local around that track at the moment. He's going to be very hard to beat. But, mate, some of them names on that entry list, you got Dixon, mate, he sorted that new car out. It's a bullet now. He's flying. Mate, the list goes on. The pro lights there, like Jason Richards, Caleb Smith, finally getting that car of his dirty, mate. That thing's immaculate. It's a bullet. It's going to be really quick. Seen some little videos of testing of that car. Let alone that, the side-by-sides, I think there's 19 of the side-by-side turbos entered. You got Craig Anderson in that, quick, in these side-by-side. mate, you can list off 12, 15 cars that could take this event outright. No worries at all.
We also saw Joe Mitchell enter in the last few hours. He had his first run down at Sea Lake last weekend. That's the former Mel Brand or Lumicraft, which won his AORC last year. So he's coming up from Griffith. He'll be one to watch. And I think as conditions deteriorate during Sunday, I think he could be right there. Yeah. And also we've got Simon Knight. He's going to be interesting coming down from Gundy in the rush truck.
They've tight trees in some sections will definitely keep him honest, but tell you what, there's some big open stuff there that he'll leave a lot of people behind, that's for sure. It's a good variety track with Titran, as you know. He'll
put on a good spectacle for the locals. The Mendhams are in town, always great supporters of the Kempsey events. Obviously, Derek Rose will be there, the red man. He's never won Kempsey, but if he puts it all together, I think he'll be right there. Riley Wilson, Steve Harris, a lot of locals and a lot of new names, Dave, which is good to see too.
Mate, there's a lot of locals there, mate, which always support the local racing, but heaps of new ones showing up. For the OLTs, for new licence holders, I think we've got 12 OLTs on the weekend, so that's awesome for the sport. Good indication we've got some new blood coming in, and who knows what that's going to bring. Some of these new guys are going to be nice and quick.
Yeah, 100%. There's another new name on the list, Moriata, this weekend, Mike Mitchell, who bought Jamie Turner's Class Super 1650, so him and his two boys are heading over to Kempsey to make their off-road debut, so shout out to them. Outside of yourself, Dave, who's your sort of roughie for this weekend?
Look, mate, the consistency of the Scots team's got to definitely shine. Last year's outright champion winner. I think he was on podium in nearly every race last year, bar one. He's definitely going to be up there. Definitely local. Matty Huxley, very quick with Titran. Mate, it's going to be definitely can't pick it. Like there is so many potential there that I couldn't split it out of 10 cars. Johnny Towers there, like I said, you could sit here thinking about it forever, and I don't think you could bring it down to 10, 15 cars and take this out.
Anyway, Dave, thanks for joining Frogs Hollow TV. All the best to you and your team and the family and the club this weekend, and wish you all the best.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, mate, for promoting our sport and what you do for the sport on Frogs Hollow TV, mate. It's awesome, and I definitely tune into all the episodes, mate. Good work, thank you.
All right, mate. Hopefully we can talk to you as a champion next week.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dave. Always a pleasure, mate, to have your insights on Frogs Hollow TV. All the best to yourself, your family, your team, and, of course, the club. At this weekend's Kempsey 300 is going to be another epic weekend. Into some other news from around the grounds. This weekend, the Gold City Short Course will take place in Charters Towers. Only 4 entries at the time of recording, with Camp Battle, Kai Camilleri, Dave Skinner and Chris Sollett ready to do battle in the north. Next weekend is also round 1 of the 2025 Sayora Series in South Australia. The Richard Bennett Memorial Perilla Enduro, that's always a classic, and the Moyston Short Course in Victoria, hosted by the Geelong Off-Road Buggy Club. I think they have around 30 cars so far, so it's going to be some tight racing, and we'll bring you more from these events on the next episode. The Queensland Aora Championship have also made some changes to their 2025 schedule due to the recent rainfall and flooding across the state. The Burdekin Enduro has been postponed to the 24th and 25th of May due to track conditions, whilst the Gundy 250 planned to be run next month has had to be cancelled due to the big wet. So that's a wrap on this week's show. Another big weekend in the off-road world with the New South Wales Championship getting underway at Kempsey. Good luck to all those competing, but more importantly, stay tuned to the next episode of Frogs Hollow TV. Cheerio.